Okay.
Tell me your
because
name.
it's Heddy Ammann from Switzerland, from Basel, Switzerland.
Would you spell the last name so I make sure I...
A-2-M-A-2-N. That's a very old Swiss name. Yeah, hundreds of years old. Okay. Now, when I came in 38, I was in France to learn French. I came back in 38 because it looked as if the war would break out, and then you can't go back. So I went back to Switzerland. When I came back to the place which is called the home, I mean, we do not believe in material families. So, but this was what is would call a family. They told me about Father Divine, and said, Father Divine is God. And so I said, now listen, what are you talking about? If you tell me Father is a saint or a prophet, I will accept of this. But somebody looking like a M-N being God, now that's too much for me to understand. And I was in Christian Science for 10 years. And I was happy in Christian Science, and I said, I'm not going to start something new. But they talked to me about Father Divine being God all the time, and I got confused. And so they said, well, if you don't like to accept Father Divine, go back to Christian Science. And I said, now how can I listen to Mary Baker Eddy if God would be on earth? So I said, God, I want to be alone, to hear from nobody. But I have no rest or no peace until I found out why do people who are intelligent say Father Divine is God. What is so different about him? They showed me the picture. Of course, I didn't care, complexion, short, tall or that, because I said it has nothing to do with God. God comes the way he wants to come and doesn't ask, little man, how should I appear? He comes as he sees fit. So I was alone. I went in another place in Switzerland, working for the same firm, and so I was reading in the New Day. I said, the only way I can find out about Father Divine is if I can read what he says. Of course, I didn't know any English, so I read in the German translation, but the German translation wasn't very good, and we had very little messages because the war was on. That was then in 1939. Then I was reading, and one day in January 1940, I had been reading in the New Day and in morning at 2 o'clock. And somebody, God, I know now it was God speaking to me. At that time it wasn't no, because you don't hear it by the ear. You hear it like a strong, pure, deep thought. And that is how God speaks to you. And he says, now when the sun is shining in your room, you're not saying a part of the sun or a piece of the sun or so. You say, the sun is in my room. Also, you know the sun is far to ever be in your room. But you say, the sun is in your room. And therefore, the one who is filling the infinite space is in, I got it. The one who fills the infinite space and is absent from none is that body. God, you are here on earth, in a body walking around on earth. My goodness me, I could not sleep. I went to bed and couldn't sleep. In the morning I woke up and opened the shutters where I lived in Lucerne. It was beautiful. Here were the mountains, here's the blue lake, the sun and the blue sky. And as I moved out of the window a little bit and looked out, it was just like in one chorus. The sky, the sun, the mountains, the lakes, everything was singing in a chorus. Father Divine is God, Father Divine is God, Father Divine is God, Father Divine is God. And I felt myself, it was hit me like a bomb or like a lightning. It was hitting me so strong that God should condescend to come in a body down here on earth with us wicked people. And when I came to myself, I felt my feet hitting the floor. So I must have been, it was levitation, because it was so strong to think that God would consider us to come down on this wicked earth plane. And that's how I found out. And from then on I knew Father is God. And then I had the first experience. I went on the mountain, the Pilatus, that's in Lucerne. You go by the elevator up to Lucerne in the thing. And then I was walking around there, and I forgot myself. and then the elevator, which goes as the airlift, is by the hotel. So I found myself lost. And so comes a little farmer's lady and I said, could you tell me how I can go back to the hotel? She said, oh, you're too far away from the hotel. You can never go back to the hotel. I said, what should I do? She said, well, you go to the mountain road. Now you walk across the field where the cows are. Now I was very much afraid of cows, very much, but I had to go through. And here came to the mountain road, but then was starting dark. Now here are trees and bushes, no bunnies or anything, and when you go a little bit further down, you fall down over rocks thousands of feet high. And here were rocks too, so you just have to keep on the mountain road, no lights, because every car who goes there has his own light. So after I walked about 5 minutes, I said, no, God, I cannot be here. It's too dark. I can't see where I walk. So I leaned on a tree, and I said, now, Father, I know now you're God, and you're right down on earth, and you're coming to help me. I had no fear. I was so sure Father's going to help me. That was my first experience with Father. After about 5 minutes there, maybe a few minutes longer, I see a light coming. And you know, these mountain roads are curved. They go like that all the time. No light otherwise, only the car. Here comes some light, and I said, now here comes Father Divine coming to help me. I wasn't thinking there may be 2 men in that car and me alone down up there. So when the car came to me, they stopped, and the lady looks out and said, would you like to come in? I said, yeah, sure. So she moved out from the back, 3 little girls in the back, and she moved and sat next to her husband and let me sit with the girls. So the man said, the gentleman said, where do you want to go? I said, go back to Lucerne. I said, oh my. He said, you know what? If you would have to walk, you would have to walk 3.5 hours on this mountain road to the next village. And there would be no trail, no nothing anymore. 3.5 hours in pitch dark. And so I went right to Lucerne, to the station, and I could take a bus. In 10 minutes I was home. That was my first experience of Father Divine.
Thank you
I could tell you so much.
Thank you so much. You know, I have one more little thing I'd like to hear, and that's what this 50th means to you today. Right now, what are you feeling?
It's a half a century that God unified himself with man. It's an enormous condescension from God, for God, instead of wiping us out of our wickedness, completely wipe us out and make a new creation. But he loved us so, he wanted to help us and come higher up that we may live and not die. And now it's 50 years that God unified himself with man, and that's why it is something very, very special, because a half a century unifying himself with man to come and lift us up and make us what he originally has been creating, a perfect creation, not what we see now. That's just all out for us. This is now, we are trying to copy now after Mother Divine, because she is perfect, she is holy, and she could heal any of us. But God did not leave her here for healing us, because we have to come out of that place where we live of that consciousness and come up so that we could not get sick. And when we become like Mother Divine, we can never die. Mother never had an ache, never had a pain. Mother Divine can never die, because she is now perfect.
Well, thank you so much for telling me.
Father Divine is God, 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 Father Divine is God.